Gangle is an NPC. Credits to Yaya Blep. I'm gonna leave a like.
I have figured it out. Gangle from the Amazing Digital Circus is secretly an NPC, and I'll prove it with Japanese. Peep game and lock in.
Whoa. Okay, whoa. Gangle's an NPC? Okay, all of us, I mean, I think the most character that's most likely an NPC is like Jax, because of the like merch and stuff. Hold on, I'm trying to remember. Why did people think it was Jax? I mean, like, I kind of believe it, not really, because I mean, if Jax was really an NPC, then like I think he would act way weirder. Honestly, just way weirder. Like, not like an actual. It's like Gummigoo.
If you don't know Gangle, she is probably
Gummigoo is like when Gummigoo is an NPC and starts actually like talking like a human, you could still tell like, yeah, this human's or NPC sounds weird, right? But Jax does not sound weird. Sounds like a normal human. Okay, no, back to the video. You guys don't want to hear me yap.
the least talked about character in the main cast of the Amazing Digital Circus. Her entire gimmick is that her mood changes depending on which of the two masks she wears, comedy or tragedy. And usually her comedy mask is broken in some intentional or unintentional way, which causes her to be more reserved and quiet for most of the time she's on screen. Let me preface this by saying this video will contain spoilers for the Amazing Digital Circus, so if you haven't seen it yet,
spoiler warning. Hey, if you haven't seen the show, watch it. Trust. It's a good show. Recommend highly.
Hop on over there, give it a watch, and then come back. Good? Cool.
But Yaya,
I hear you saying,
you've already done a Gangle theory, you're double dipping.
And to that I say, I know.
This is my first video seeing her, so I don't know what she's talking about, but continue.
And what are you gonna do about it? But in all seriousness, y'all brought up some very valid points on that video that made me think a little bit deeper about Gangle's true role in the Amazing Digital Circus. And I've gotta say, I think I'm onto something. As I mentioned in the intro, Gangle up to this point has been fairly shy and reserved. However, after the events of episode 4, she takes strides to learning how to be more happy and outspoken, even while she...
Hot take? Episode 4 is my least favorite episode of the whole entire show. I know you guys have your pitchforks out or not reacting to me at all, but that's just my hot take.
Wearing her tragedy mask. Her character arc follows her coming to terms with that part of herself and embracing it to find happiness in the sadness, which would be a wonderful message if she wasn't an NPC. Let's go back to the evidence I presented in my last Gangle theory, the bee. Something I didn't mention in that video is that bees, specifically this drawing of a bee, is heavily associated with Cain. We see it in his notepads, on books littered in his spaces. If there's paper and
I did not see the litters.
There's likely a bee somewhere. But what about Gangle makes me believe that she's an NPC? Well, that, my friends, is where the Japanese comes in. Remember that scene in episode 7 where Gangle smashes a watermelon that had Jax's face drawn on it? That's a reference to Suika Wari, a traditional Japanese beach game.
Suika Wari. Or Suika Wari. Repeat that.
That, my friends, is where the Japanese comes in. Remember that scene in episode 7 where Gangle smashes a watermelon that had Jax's face drawn on it? That's a reference to Suika Wari, a traditional
Sliko or Suiko? I'm not even going to speak Japanese.
Japanese beach game played during the summertime. Think of it like Mexican piñata. The player is blindfolded, given a stick, spun around no less than 3 times, and then told to bash open a watermelon. Once it's broken open, it gets evenly distributed between all of the guests for a nice, refreshing treat. So why is Gangle the one playing it? Well, that's because the point of Suikawari is to break something open to reveal what's inside. And Gangle, just like the shattered watermelon, symbolizes a fracture in the game's code itself.
Whoa, okay. She might be onto something.
Hey, let me cook. This will all make sense in the end, I promise. Throughout the show, Gangle has acted strangely towards the other NPCs, with the most notable interaction being in episode 4. Here, Gangle is given a position of authority in the form of being a shift leader at a McDonald's spoof, and she abuses that power to keep everything flowing.
Man, like, Manager Gangle was so annoying.
Smoothly. One such incident was when Pomni stepped away from her register position to talk to the man, the myth, the legend, Gummy Goo. As soon as Gangle learns what's going on, she immediately swoops in to prevent Pomni from talking to him, almost as if she knew there might be consequences if she allowed the interaction to continue. Another example from that same episode. Right as the shift starts, my boy Orbs.
I mean, I don't really think like she did that for that reason. I mean, just manager. Oh, she finally has authority. So like, I mean, if you let's say a person with no authority at all, if you give them authority and they could like now like be, and Gangle has been like treated like bad from Jax. So like, I mean like Gangle might just try to like not try to just like use that authority to. Sorry guys, my phone accidentally turned off, leading me to having to start a new screen recording. Don't worry, I will edit them together. But yeah, what I was going to say is like Gangle would try to use that authority to its fullest. Yeah.
Immediately to scold him for it. And it's not just that Gangle treats the NPCs differently, it's that she acts like them too. In the most recent episode, episode 7, Gangle is
acts like them? I would like to see it. Let me see. Let's see.
One actively moving the plot along. She asks Canes for suggestions on an adventure, tells Kinger about their plan of escape, and so on. Then once you add in the bee evidence, things start to fall into place. You see, bees in the Amazing Digital Circus have always correlated to Kane. He's drawing them in his therapy session with Zooble back in episode 3. They're all over the books in his office in episode 4. Even on the note at the beginning of episode 7, they're everywhere, including
I think Kane likes bees.
Abel's plans. This one bee drawing was likely an indication that something wasn't quite right with Abel and his story. And when you know it, he ended up just being another one of Cain's creations. So, if bees are representative of Cain and Cain's creations, and a bee was associated with Gangle, then who's to say that Gangle isn't one of Cain's creations as well? Perhaps Cain created Gangle to test and gather data to further his understanding of humans. And then, in his own words,
if I start losing track of who's a human and who's an NPC, who knows what could happen?
What do you think? Did I convince you that Gangle might secretly be an NPC? Let me know your thoughts below down in the comments. And if you like this video, consider subscribing. My goal is to find the hidden Japanese and all the things that I care about, so you can bet that I'll be back with more crack theories just like this one for y'all in the future. Well, that's all I got. Bye!
Okay. Did she convince me that Gangle is an NPC? No. Like, to be honest, no. I think Gangle's just Gangle. Like, I mean, maybe the bee thing is cool. New fact of the day. It was the bee, and also the watermelons sukuwari. Yeah, sukuwari. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I don't speak Japanese. But that's it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoy. Don't worry, that 20 sub special gaming marathon is coming up. I just have this content to hold you guys over. Love you all, and God bless you all.